Hello, this is Kate, and this is your weekly oracle card reading. And today I'm going to be using the Self-Care cards by Cheryl Richardson, and it's an oracle card deck. And today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than I normally do. And instead of doing a card for each day of the week or each part of the week, I'm just going to draw 3 cards, and this is just going to be a general message of what we need to focus on this week. Okay, so the first card that we've got is Retreat. On the back of the card says, take a mini retreat. Listen to the voice of your soul. Okay. So this week is all about going within ourselves. And as you can see, the picture of the woman kind of curled up in the shell, it's all about spiraling inwards and really kind of taking that journey and going within ourselves. So it's important this week to find the time and the space to have a mini retreat. So if you have the luxury of actually going somewhere and getting away from it all, this week's a really good time to do that. But most people don't. So just finding even just a few minutes or an hour in your day where you can be alone and get a little bit of space, a little bit of quiet, and a bit of solitude, and just go within and kind of explore what's there. And as the card says, I'm just going to read it again. Take a mini retreat. Listen to the voice of your soul. So listening to the voice of your soul, I think a lot of the times the voice of our soul gets kind of drowned out by the other voices. So the voices of other people in our lives, and the voices of our ego or of our mind or our intellect or the voice of our body. So I think the voice of our soul is probably the most quiet yet persistent voice that we have within ourselves. And so oftentimes it takes a lot of slowing down and quieting the mind and soothing the body in order to really hear the messages that we're getting from our higher self or from our soul. And so this week is a nice time to really slow things down, to get quiet, and to let yourself be really introverted and just go within and see if you can hear the voice of your soul. So practicing, meditation and just different forms of relaxation and quieting the mind. Okay. And the next card we've got is Rejuvenation, and it actually has a very similar theme to the other card. They both look very similar. And not all of the cards in the deck look like this, actually. And this card says, get a good night's sleep. Rejuvenate your body, mind, and spirit. Okay, so kind of in keeping with the retreat card. So taking time for rejuvenation, so getting lots of extra sleep this week, so it's okay to take naps and to sleep in if you can. And maybe if you're normally used to really going hard at it, whether you're used to intense exercise or working really, really hard and being busy, this week, if you can, is a really good time to do the opposite of that and take more time for you, take more time for rest and relaxation, and to let your body rest a lot. So like I said, extra sleep, maybe don't exercise so intensely this week, take a few days off, maybe do some yoga, something more gentle for your body. And also the card says rejuvenate your body, mind, and spirit. So rejuvenating your mind, I think it kind of goes along with this card in that we can rejuvenate our minds, I think, by quieting our minds. And if you're the kind of person who's really a mental kind of intellectual person who's always in their head, which most of us I think are, this week is a good time to practice different ways of getting a little bit out of the mind. So it could mean going more into the body, going into your breath, so doing some breath work exercises or breath work meditations, but just experimenting, kind of playing around with different ways to get out of the mind and different ways of kind of dropping the mind and letting go of its grip on us, because quite often, especially if you try to meditate, you'll find that your mind is constantly getting in the way, and we're constantly kind of listening to this stream of consciousness that our mind keeps kind of rambling on. So rejuvenation is all about finding ways to let your mind rest a little bit and letting your body rest. And it also said letting your, I think it said your spirit, yeah, rejuvenate your body, mind, and spirit. So finding ways to rejuvenate your spirit, so whatever that might look like for you, whether it's reading inspirational books, or if it's practicing yoga, or spending more time in nature, or going to the beach, but finding ways that brings you more of a connection to your spirit and to your spiritual nature. Okay, and then our last card, our third card, is self-respect. And all these three cards actually have a very similar theme. They're all by the ocean with shells and women that are like half mermaids. And all the cards in the deck are very, very different. So it's funny that these three all have a very similar symbols. So this card says, respect yourself. You're the best judge of what's right. And what I'm getting from this card is that in order to make really good, wise decisions in your life, it's pretty important to be able to listen to, as one of the other cards said, listen to the voice of your soul. So being able to go within and to hear that quiet voice and to make decisions based on what you feel is right for you, because really you're the expert in your own life, and there's always going to be lots of people who are really eager to give you their opinions and their advice, and a lot of the times these people are really well-meaning, and it can be helpful to hear other people's point of view, and sometimes people have really good advice to offer, but ultimately you know what's right in your life, and you know what kinds of decisions to make and what kind of actions to take, and what you need to do in order to live a fulfilling life with purpose and meaning. And I think this card is about having enough self-respect for yourself that you can trust yourself to make those decisions and to do what's right for you. And having that self-respect means thanking others for their opinions and their advice, but also knowing that really their opinions don't matter and yours do. It's what you think of yourself that matters. And I think this also speaks to anyone who might be struggling with worrying about others' opinions of them. I think we all do this from time to time. Some of us maybe a little bit more than others. And I think really if you're finding yourself feeling unhappy and worrying about what others think of you and how others are going to see you, you really want to kind of bring that energy back to yourself and focus on how you see yourself. And what is your opinion of yourself? Do you think you're a good person? Do you think you're doing the right thing right now? And I think just focusing on how you feel about yourself. And if you don't feel that good about yourself, sometimes it can be a natural thing to want to seek, look to others for that kind of approval. So really just focusing on gaining a deeper, more positive relationship with ourselves, and gaining a real sense of self-respect, and just really liking ourselves and approving of ourselves, and not seeking, looking to others for that. So just a quick recap. These all have a really beautiful ocean theme, and the shells with the spiraling inward, that's a very powerful energy symbol. And the ocean is all about flow, so the flow of energy in our lives, and then the tides too, so the ebb and flow of the tides. So there's always those times of abundance where a lot of stuff's happening, and then times of the ebb where things seem to be disappearing and things are more quiet. So those are kind of the two themes I'm seeing here. But retreat, rejuvenation, and self-respect this week. So a lot of going within, being kind to ourselves, pampering ourselves, and just gaining a real sense of respect and love for ourselves. So my name's Kate. I hope you found this reading helpful, and thank you for joining me.